She was gonna take Lando's ship?
Yeah.
Why would she take Lando's ship then? Like, they're back on their home planet. Does she not have a ship that she can drive?
Oh yeah, she probably has.
I bet she's taking it because it has a pool.
It has a pool?
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why is because she likes it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Quickly. Speed on this episode.
All right, hello there. You found the lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from a Star Wars universe. We will be your guides. Timmu-chama.
You can't see it, but I have a peace sign by my eye.
Kaeru dono.
Open the podcast doors, Stuart.
Skottoshi.
Konnichiwa? I don't know.
And to my future dojo students, I am Stuart-san.
Hell yeah.
Today, we will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 4 of Dark Force Rising. Tim, what has happened so far?
So far, the New Republic is beleaguered by numerous Imperial hit-and-fade operations, with a recent assault leaving an entire shipyard of capital ships crippled. Admiral Ackbar has been accused by political rival Borsk Fey'lya of colluding with the Imperials due to suspicious financial activity on the day of the assault. Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, and Luke Skywalker have intel that a non-human Grand Admiral is behind the recent coordination. Arriving ahead of Lando and Luke, Han gives his testimony on the assault and divulges the intel before they can verify it in the ex-Imperial archives. Meanwhile, Leia Organa Solo has been evading abduction from a mysterious alien task force. On Kashyyyk, Leia and the Wookiees neutralize another attempt, capturing the Noghri operative Khabarakh, but not before Chewbacca's childhood friend Salporin is killed. During the subsequent interrogation, Khabarakh identifies Leia as daughter and heir to the revered Lord Vader. Leaning on that reverence, she offers a one-on-one meeting as a show of good faith from the New Republic towards the Noghri people. She returns to Coruscant in the interim to prepare for her meeting in 1 month's time over the forest moon of Endor. Luke has been lacking confidence to train Leia and become the teacher of the next generation of Jedi. Beckoned through the Force to Jomark by a Jedi Master identified by rumor as Jorah Sabayoth, apprehension urges Luke to seek out this possible new mentor to lighten his burden. He is unsuspecting that it is really a clone of the original Sabayoth, in league with the Imperial Grand Admiral. Scott, what happened this chapter?
All right. Luke is back on Coruscant. While looking through the palace archives for information on Sabayoth, Winter interrupts him to deliver Leia's summons. They discuss the digressive Jedi and his place in both galactic and Alderaanian history. Winter leaves Leia, Luke, and Han to discuss the conspiracy surrounding Ackbar and, if any, through lines with Fey'lya and the Bothans. With nothing left to contribute on Coruscant, Han and Leia will investigate New Corv in the Churba sector, where the Bothans were involved in a brief but violent skirmish during the Galactic Civil War. It is at this point that Chewbacca exposes Leia's rendezvous with the Noghri. With Han and Leia staring expectantly at each other, Luke excuses himself. Leia and Han argue in earnest, but ultimately her idealism wins his support for her mission. Han insists that she takes the Falcon and Chewie as a pilot.
I thought for a moment Luke was going to fight this computer. Because Luke was like, because the computer was like, oh, that information's unavailable. And Luke was like, is it unavailable or is it classified? It's like, what do you mean? Why are you arguing with this computer?
I thought you were saying he would have to like fist fight it for the information.
I mean, he might. I don't know why he thought it was keeping information from him. Is it programmed to do that? Is it like those droids from the last chapter that are a bit touchy?
Yeah, he's like, don't make me go full Kylo Ren on you right now.
Also, we interesting to learn in this chapter that Juros is self-appointed, apparently.
Another self-appointed title.
Yeah, another one. Yep.
If only Anakin had known you could do that.
I know, right?
Finally.
It's that easy. Done.
Yeah.
But isn't Luke himself a self-appointed, like later on in... Doesn't he become like Grandmaster later on? Who appointed him that title?
Yeah, that'll be self-appointed.
Right?
Yeah. It's literally like the Obama giving himself the presidential medal meme.
But I mean, at this point, there's nobody else to give him that title. I don't even know. I don't think he's still a Jedi Knight, and I think he feels that. But at some point, when he's gathered a following, I think the people are looking at him and saying, like, okay, you need to, you're more than the masters that we are. You are the Grand Master here. So I feel like there is a point that that's okay, but it didn't seem like that was it for Sabaoth, the real Sabaoth, in this.
Well, it's interesting giving the previous chapter because they were also like, oh, I'm sure the Grand Admiral also gave himself that title. So I mean, it is. I feel like they're putting a lot of effort, a lot of value in these titles. That it's like ultimately it doesn't matter. Story wise, I think it's really cool being like that. Here, the scene in Jedi Survivor. What's the one with Cal Kestis?
Survivor. Singular.
There's Fallen Order and then Survivor.
Fallen Order. In Fallen Order, the original Fallen Order, he gets granted the title of Jedi, and that was a deep, impactful scene. If that scene didn't happen, though, if we didn't have the character to grant him it, I'd still consider him. He's still a Jedi Knight. He's still, he's out there doing the work.
No.
Yeah.
In my karate organization, you get colored ranks up until first dan, and after first dan, you keep your same black belt until I really should know, but at like fifth dan, I think, or sixth dan, they give you red and white. But there is this kind of thing of like the new people really need this sense of progression when you start something, and it's important for all things that your first few steps you can really see the progress, but then once you get to a certain level, that the difference between these things is years and years of very minute incrementation from one level to another, and it's just a whole lot of time spent making something very, very small, those very, very small differences over a very long period of time.
So what color belt are you, Stuart?
I have a black belt.
Hell yeah.
And it's going to stay that way for a very long time, I think.
Sorry. I used to do Taekwondo, and I made it to green before getting bored.
I was in karate, and I was a white belt, but then my parents were too poor to pay for classes still. So. I'll forever be a white belt.
Yeah, I wish I'd learned more.
That's what I think, though, is like in the beginning, those things are different, but like at the end, whether you take the test or not doesn't change your skill level. It's just supposed to demarcate an acknowledgement of the effort that you have, these marginal gains that you've made over a very long period of time. So, we get the point from Winter's perspective that she says, by the time it came to this dispute on Alderaan, there was no question of like whether he was a master or not. There would be a period in this time that you would just, start calling yourself a master because you feel like you've progressed to a particular point, and then it really the proof is in the pudding with a lot of these things.
At this point in the stories, are we aware of the Jedi Order where it's like, well, first you become a Padawan and then you become a Knight and then you can be the rank of Grand Master?
No. Which is what I thought was interesting about this chapter, is that at the very beginning when Luke is querying the system, we get he graduates from university and then starts some individualized Jedi training. So like, was he already a Jedi from the beginning? Because Luke was too old to be a Jedi. So is the idea now in this universe that Sabaoth has been trained as a Jedi, but then got very specific specialization after university, or was he also too old to be a Jedi? And Timothy Thrawn just forgot.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I was thinking that too. It's like, did he go to university and then become a Jedi, or was he a Jedi and then he's like, oh, you know what, I want to get my master's degree in, like, I don't know, programming or something, and he's like, and so he's like, something he can't learn from the Jedi, that he has to go to university or whatever. But
I also thought it was really funny as Winter was retelling her experience with him. She was also like, yeah, he was also ripped.
yeah.
Yeah, confirmation.
Which it does lead to an interesting conversation where Luke is like, well, yeah, it's very uncommon. Like, it's strength is not usually a shown thing, so it does make me think that Judas is, while he is probably a rep, he also probably is mostly show muscles. Like he has
was a
muscles
bodybuilder.
too, as almost as like an intimidation kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe that's what he went to university for.
Maybe. Yeah.
Sports science and psychological warfare.
Yeah. Jedi felt like working your abs was too vain, so he had to go off to university to do it.
I mean, maybe that's what he was doing in school, because it was mentioned he was a brilliant tactician, I believe.
Mm.
And who knows what? I don't know what space college is like. I don't know. I don't know their course material.
Is it like Mars University from Futurama?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. It makes me wonder: are we going to get more backstory from him, or is there a book I have to read for that?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, there is a book about the Outbound Flight.
Yeah, we do know that he wrote Outbound Flight after this one, so I'm sure that would be a fun read after this, particularly. I think that publishing order is probably the best to be reading a lot of the material, because
I agree.
Yeah, there are Easter eggs in stuff that comes later that is fun to pick up on.
When people ask me what order to watch Star Wars, I'm like, start with 4.
Yeah.
Then go 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
Off subject, if someone recommends something to you guys, do you start from the beginning?
I start from the first made material.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really care to start chronologically with things in that universe's timeline.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, I watched a YouTube video recently that said, like, you don't need to finish all your games. And I've certainly had the experience of, like, with the Nintendo Switch Online, going back to play the original Legend of Zelda, the original Metroid games. And those games were a very different experience from modern games, because people got better at making games. And so you were supposed to buy the game when it came out, sit down with the booklet, and use that as your guide, or however they were telling stories at the time. But now it's all built into the game. So, game design has come so far that going back and trying to play the old Metroid game, it just feels less like a challenge and more like I'm trying to think of the right word for this, but it wasn't fun for me to sit down and play those games, because, like, we just come so far, and I don't feel like you should need to go back and play all of the Metroid games if you really enjoyed Metroid Dread, which I did. I will go back and play some of the more celebrated games, but, going all the way back to its inception is, asking for a headache, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fun when something is challenging, because it's fun when something is challenging because it's hard, not because you don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I read a Steam review for a game the other day that was like, the concept is really good, but all of the challenge comes from the mechanics acting poorly, not the mechanics being utilized well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love I do feel a lot of video games nowadays do a lot of hand holding.
Mm.
And like there are some things that are inherent to most people who play video games. Like if I were to hand you somebody who played Call of Duty Black Ops 1, like if I were to hop into like a new Call of Duty game, I don't think the mechanics are going to be that much different than what I was playing. Like I'm sure it's still left trigger to aim, right trigger to shoot, same basic stuff. But you know, there definitely is a time where it's like right mouse button to open inventory and then left mouse button to close the inventory, and just nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, that all contributes to like media literacy, and like my wife doesn't particularly like science fiction, and so when we watch something that's science fiction, I'm picking up on more details or more clues of what's going on in the story because I know what to expect in that genre, and that's part of my literacy in the genre that she doesn't have. But if we're going to go watch like a game show, or like a documentary about whatever topic, there's going to be things in that she is getting a lot more information than I am because I'm not well versed in the communication styles of that genre.
Very true.
I think the biggest thing I ever had that with was, the first time I opened up like a JRPG, and I'm like, all these menus, these items, what is ether? But even then, they expect you to know that because that's a deep common theme, like game element in a lot of games. So trying to hop into a later franchise, it's hard.
Yeah.
But I that being said, I do enjoy having to figure things out in games. Like it is.
Me too.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Hi.
Shut up. Shut up. I think one recently that I've really enjoyed, and it does not do hand holding. It is Near Automata.
Oh man,
And
I really want to play those
that
games.
game is just
Heard of it.
crazy, and there's so much going on, and they're like they don't tell you nothing, and you have to turn your hand into like a claw to play it properly.
That's what I love about FromSoft games. I don't know anything when I go into them. Although at this point I have enough familiarity that I could figure some stuff out.
Exactly.
I would be so screwed going into any of those games.
That's part of the experience.
Yeah.
You start being screwed and then you get good, and then as soon as you're confident, you get screwed again.
I don't get good. I don't learn.
Then you will die again and again.
It's not for everybody, and that's okay.
It isn't. Yeah.
No, and I think we also are in a little bit of a trap of thinking that just because something is within the English language that it is accessible to all English speakers, and when you start to step outside of like even into one other language, the language that you speak every day is not the language that you get out of a book. And so like the words that I can use to communicate here in Japan is one skill, but it's also another skill to pick up a book and enjoy what that is. And there is specialized vocabulary for when you're reading, for when you're interacting within certain niches, within certain groups, to do everything. And I feel like what happens as people go through further and further education, the biggest difference between, doctors and lawyers and all those other really technical professions is that they have been given a large amount of vocabulary to identify very specific things. And everyone can go through that if they put in the time and the effort to, of course, there's going to be what progression people need to reach those levels. But at the end of the day, they're just using words to describe things in the universe and putting words to things is just a tool that anybody can learn to use. And not to say that it's not difficult either, but
Yeah.
I don't think it is as mystic as and it's deceptive as well. Like I said, I think language is really modular in that way of like, well, I know English, but like, do you know all the technical jargon for woodworking? Am I missing something?
Oh, you're talking about like English and not everyone always getting everything. I bet y'all know in the chat.
You all would have known what we were talking about if you saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
good.
It definitely like speaking English in one part of the country to another is drastically different.
Yeah.
It just happens. Different dialects, different languages, different shorthands.
Mm-hmm.
I can point at 90 different things and say that is a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's weird when somebody from the East Coast uses hella.
But yeah.
Oh, is it weird?
I don't
Is
know,
that a
it's
West
more-
Coast slang?
It's more of a California thing, yeah.
Oh.
Or at least that's where it started.
Oh, it's ours now.
It's hella weird.
Fine addition to my collection.
Yeah.
So in Japanese, do they have anything that you think you could equate to Yodov?
Yes, so the Japanese people really do like to shoryaku is contract words. And particularly for foreign words, that loan words that come into Japanese, like a personal computer is what they use for any kind of like laptop device or like PC, and they take the pa so from personal and kon from computer to say pasokon, which
Okay.
if you just saw it and realized that it came from a foreign word, you would not be able to guess that came from personal computer.
Interesting.
Oh.
So one of my students said something the other day about like riske shite kudasai. It sounds like risky. And like, what is risky? What do they even mean? And like, it was the first time in like some business job in Tokyo, and it's a contraction of reschedule. And so it's like, it's not even a Japanese word, right? So they're trying to use English to like be, I don't know, new wave Japanese businessmen, and then on top of that, they're also shortening it into these other things. And like, I am not very good with social media in English, and in Japanese apparently it's a whole nother level. Like if you ever see W's anywhere, it's this kind of like knock-on joke from W looks like grass coming out of the ground, and grass is called kusa, which is also, they have a lot of onomatopoeia, and kusa 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 sounds like people snickering. And so that's they've got from this is funny just becomes W, from this is funny, I am laughing, this is the sound of laughing, it looks like grass, and just W.
So just out of curiosity, do you know what Yodov is?
You all would have.
Oh yeah, water shrimp.
Yeah.
You all should have. Yeah. Contractions are hard to teach, man. It's like you gotta get it or you don't get it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, for a language, for a bunch of people that do a bunch of contractions in their own language, I don't know how they how it just doesn't click sometimes. What do you mean this is missing out the whole whole sounds of these words. But Japanese is also constricted by the phonology of their of what makes up their words as well, because they don't have a whole bunch of condensed consonants. Everything is interspersed with vowels, so it's really hard to have words like strip where there is a ST and R, 3 consonants being pushed together before a vowel appears. Anyway,
this episode on on communication has been great. Couldn't even tell you what we were talking about before.
Right. What chapter
this
are
has
we
been a
in?
90-minute conversation, and you're probably going to get 15 minutes edited out of this. Okay.
Back to Star Wars.
Yeah, it's only been 30 minutes.
What happened? Han was about to hit Leia because.
Meanwhile, 3PO's like, about to hang himself because of all the communication talk with him.
What do you mean? Me and 3PO are vibing, man. Here we're the protocol droids.
This is true. Yeah, 3PO's into this.
I loved when Leia told Han that she was going to Noghri by herself, and it got super awkward. Luke was like, "I'm leaving," and then Chewie was also like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go."
Yeah.
I also have to check out the X-wing.
But he didn't leave in the end. He was still there in the end when
He just stayed outside.
Was it? Did they just walk out? And
Yeah, he was
into the
outside
group?
the door.
Oh, okay.
And then I think Chewbacca had a plan that instead of Leia going, he was going to dress up as Leia and go instead of her.
Yeah, and then we're going to use C-3PO's voice modulator
Right,
to
exactly.
mimic her. Yeah, okay.
I mean, how many people have actually seen Leia?
Yeah, fair.
It could be really hairy. You don't know.
I mean, they know what she smells like.
Oh, what if
That's right.
you shave Chewbacca? It just looks like Leia underneath.
Just a very tall, stretched out Leia.
Well, you'd have to get Chewie pregnant too, though.
Oh man, that's a lot of work.
Oh, I'm willing to do it.
Han is like, I will.
I volunteer. I volunteer as tribute.
He'll be like, "This isn't even my first time trying."
Contingency plan 26. I'm on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I do get Han's concern. It is weird for her to promise that no one else is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like I understand that, in order to ensure like a peace between them, saying like just I will come in a normal circumstance is fine. But if you are a high approving, it'd be like if our president was like, look, it will just be me. No one else is coming.
Yeah.
It's just me and King Song-il. You promised to meet me. But look at this from Khabarakh's point of view. If Chuz says they're going to meet you, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, I also brought my translator droid and this really fearsome pilot."
Right, but it's
How does that make you feel?
versus she's going to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's her fierce pilot, a droid, versus their planet.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing in
Like
the end.
if it was a neutral meeting ground, I understand bringing battlements could be a little more concerning. But it seems like they're going to meet up at a rendezvous point, and then they're going to take her to the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I can see that being a little less concerning. Particularly if we show up on a ship like the Falcon as well. The Falcon looks like not everybody can fly that thing. It's not like a personal starfighter. It's
Actually,
Right.
that reminds me, I got to look up what the Lady Luck was.
the Lady Luck.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
remember.
I can't remember exactly.
Wasn't the Lady Luck supposed to be like a luxury yacht?
I think so, yeah.
One of Lando's luxury yachts.
Yeah, the Lady Luck. It even looks like a yacht.
Oh, cool. Link in the
Couple of
description.
blasters.
Yeah, it was a luxury 3000 space yacht.
Yeah. It says Sorosu 3000 yacht. Yeah. Space yacht. Personal luxury ship.
This both looks like a yacht, but like also this side shot, the second one down on the Wikipedia page, and like all of them really, when you get a good look at it, looks like it would be good for smuggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was going to take Lando's ship?
Yeah,
Why?
Originally, I think so, yeah.
because they kept it from when they left Naklon. They went out and they did this 3-minute something second transfer.
Right. Why would she take Lando's ship then? Like, they're back on their home planet. Does she not have a ship that she can drive?
Oh yeah, she probably has.
I bet she's taking it because it has a pool.
It has a pool?
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why is because she likes it.
Yeah. You're probably gonna chill. Here's the schematics.
It does say it has a first-class autopilot.
Oh, didn't it have one of those beacon calls that came with it too?
Oh, I think so.
Oh.
There's also a screenshot from the Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, which looks pretty cool.
It does. It's a nice ship. I'd want it too.
Very Lando.
Yeah, very Lando. It gives me some Naboo vibes too.
Oh yeah,
A little
yeah.
bit. If it was like shiny, yeah.
Where is Lando from, anyway?
Ooh. I've never thought about that.
Lando
I just
Calrissian
thought he
was
was
a
from, like,
human,
Coruscant.
male, professional gambler, entrepreneur, smuggler, and general throughout various points in his life. Born on Socorro.
Socorro. Reputation as a smuggler haven.
First appearance in Star Wars Adventure Journal 2.
Oh my goodness.
But apparently there is no Tales from the New Republic. It will not appear in this series, it seems.
Aw.
Hmm.
We need Lando backstory. Yeah.
Mr. Drama Queen.
If only there was a series of novels.
Well, there is the rumor of the TV series. I guess it was originally going to be a movie, but they decided to make it a TV series, but we're still not.
Now they're
100%
talking
sure.
about making it a movie again.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Someone will figure it out someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they're having Donald Glover write it, so I'm looking forward to that. Donald Glover's
Yeah.
a really good writer. Have you guys seen
He is.
Atlanta?
I have not.
I
But I've
really
heard great
want to
things.
see it. Yeah.
What's up?
It is Atlanta series by David Glover and Donald Glover and
Donald
his
Glover.
brother, maybe?
Yeah, I think his brother's a director.
Yeah, but they both
His
write
brother's gonna-
like episodes for it, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Nah. The only thing I've heard Donald Glover doing recently is Fiona and Cake.
Oh yeah, wasn't he the voice for Marceline's?
Yeah. Like, apparently he came back for the new show, I guess.
Oh, there's a new show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Stuart, yeah, I don't know if you know this. You're a big Adventure Time fan. Fiona and Cake is like a new show out.
Oh, cool.
And it seems like it's connected.
Oh, nice.
But quite a few people are there. Tom Kenny, Donald Glover, Brian David Gilbert, if you know who that is.
Doesn't sound familiar.
I know who that is.
He's there for
Yeah.
some reason, which is great.
It is great, yeah.
But yeah, if you like Adventure Time, I'm sure you should check it out. Everyone is pretty happy about it.
Adventure Time. Come on, grab your friends. I love Adventure Time. Adventure Time was a good show.
Hey, do you guys understand the galactic dating system in these logs?
No, I was going to make a
talking
joke.
about, like-
Neither do I.
Are you talking about like the designation, like PE or whatever?
Yeah, it's pre-Empire. So all of these dates are pre-Empire. So we don't know in this chapter how long the Empire has been established. But since I've read this book before, I remember. Do you guys want to know? It's not a big point.
Do we? Find out next time on The Lost Holocron. That's a good question. I don't know if I want to. I mean, is it a big, huge reveal?
No, but I think it also adds a bit of context to, just how grand galactic history is at this point.
Okay, let's do it.
So they say that the Clone Wars happened, I think, 40 to 50 years ago, and the Empire would have been established. Is the Empire established pre or post Clone Wars in this part of canon?
That's a very good question. I'm not even sure if we can find that out, because if we went on Wikipedia, it would
come all over the place, right?
Yeah, it would finagle it into more recent material before Disney takeover.
Canon.
So, I believe that particularly for information that we got in the first book, that Paleon has been in the military for at least 50 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would have happened around the time of the Clone Wars. And the Clone Wars being about that same time, that the pre-Empire or Empire would have started either at the end or the start of the Clone Wars. So this is 50 to 60 years post. No. Would have been 50 years post-Empire. And then pre-Empire are these dates at the moment. So if we think about it in that, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. The Sabaoth that is mentioned here was born 112, 120 pre-Empire.
He did seem not worried, but unsettled about how old he was.
Yeah.
That's a little old for a human.
Yeah, because he would be potentially around 200 years old at the time, based on the internal timeline of this trilogy.
Which, again, makes me question how old this clone was in relation to when it was made, because this clone is an old man as well.
Right.
But not as old as the original would have been, maybe?
Yeah.
Because he has to maintain the same appearance, so maybe they sped him up in the cloning process and just cut it off when he was that same age or something.
Even if he was cloned 50 years later, right? Would you be able to pick out the difference between a 170-year-old man and a 120-year-old man?
Probably, yeah.
But if he's been maintaining himself with the Force, those would look pretty similar, right?
Wait, that's a fair question, because we don't know that yet. Because even he was like, "Oh, maybe you can do that. Maybe you can do that." Yoda definitely lived longer than most do. Well, I also thought it was interesting that they were like, "Oh, smaller species don't live as long."
Yeah,
which is a weird thing.
Well, I mean, if you look at animals, hamsters only live 2 years or 3 years, and elephants live
turtles live for hundreds.
Yeah,
So it usually doesn't have anything to do with size.
Well, not always, but
size matters not.
Judgment by size, you do. Yeah.
What's that thing? I've heard this. I don't know if it's true. Alligators can live for a very long time, but they usually die from just being too big.
That would be wild.
They just get so big that it gets hard for them to move and keep feeding themselves, and that's usually why they die.
So this dating system, I would like to have a have you guys seen the Kurzgesagt's let's redate everything video?
No, I haven't.
I haven't seen that one. I love their videos. I watch a ton of them, but I haven't seen that one.
It was quite a number of years ago now that they're just was it the agricultural revolution happened 12,000 years ago. And so if we just add 10,000 years to our current calendar, we just call it the Anthropocene, or the I can't remember if they had another word for that. But they release a calendar every year that is, rather than 2020X, it's 12,020X. So I would like a plugin that when I go to Wikipedia, that it converts all the dates to this human era stuff, because like we have such a difference in feelings of like, what was it, Cleopatra is closer to Madonna than when the Pyramid of Giza was built or something like that.
Oh, I've heard things like that. Yeah.
And it's just so crazy that we have this condensed sense of time because we don't have a very good dating system at the moment, and we just need to convert it into I don't know,
something better.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, time. It is always weird to think about time like that. That one fact. Anne Frank and Martin Luther King Jr. were alive at the same time. It is a one that always got me, but it's just. I feel like this time system makes it a little more complicated trying to understand it, but I don't know. Like I said, I would love. I do want more stories to try to figure out what's up with this cloning whole situation. I feel like they gave us these dates because they're gonna be important.
So you think like the Eldoradian thing's going to come up soon? We're going to have like a subplot of the people that didn't get the power of Alderaan coming back, establishing the new Alderaan on a new planet.
I don't know about that. I think it will be more of just because I mean maybe it was just to get the subject of there was something off about his age going, but we don't really hear dates often in the story.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be like if we were in a conversation and like 7 hours into a conversation, I just start listing off numbers. Like you'd be like, "Wait, what? What's going on? Are these important?"
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep a tab on this and see if it comes back around at some point. I also liked when we talked about in Luke's chapter that he's just a civilian at this point, and when Winter comes in, she addresses him as Commander, which obviously was his previous title.
Oh yeah.
But that she's still. Why isn't she calling him Luke?
Because no one cares about Winter.
They do treat her as a robot, really.
They do, yeah. She gives droid vibes.
Right. And it's funny because it's like in the audiobook that I'm listening to, the narrator does all the voices and he does them really well, but it's basically like a feminized version of the voice he does for C-3PO.
I would like to see a personality eventually. Although there was some grief over Alderaan here, so some personality.
Yeah, particularly for someone that doesn't forget anything. That that wound will always remain fresh or open or something.
Oh, geez, I didn't think about that.
To contrast this chapter with the last chapter as well, that the way that Luke interacts with robots is very different from the way that Han interacts with robots, and even in that when they arrive at the Leia's office, and the way that he interacts with C-3PO is very different to how he was treated by Han.
Yeah.
And I think we also see that in the way that Luke was interacting with Winter as well, is that Winter has been very robotic and just kind of like this maid servant that's just been sent, go collect Luke, go come back, list off these dates that you eidetically remember. And Luke is having a bit more of a personal touch when he's talking to this character and to C-3PO, and when he's mentioning R2 and all that. We definitely get the humanist vibe from Luke.
I do like that moment of him giving C-3PO the same kind of dignity back that he usually receives.
Yeah.
or treating him with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that too.
Droid rights.
And as they were walking through the palace as well, that Luke is touching these Chihala trees. I thought those were really cool. They were the purple and green ones that were mentioned in the previous chapter.
Red or something.
Yeah, and then as you touch them, they had these kind of like flashes and whatnot.
I really like
it left like some red behind.
So cool.
Yeah.
Again, he's fascinated with the trees because he's like, he's not used to seeing them on Tatooine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trees always fascinate him.
Yeah. And these were so cool that, I want to give props to Emperor Palpatine for his interior decorating.
Mm-hmm.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, is the dark side rituals involve a lot of feng shui or something? Because it spends a lot of time on these things, apparently.
It's definitely the biggest draw to the dark side for me, honestly, the style.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys get out of the argument between Han and Leia in there? Because those were definitely the two factions arguing.
Mm-hmm.
Luke didn't have much to say on the Bothans and how they were being treated or viewed in this scene.
I don't know. Well, you agree with Leia that they can't just kind of hide forever because the Noghri are always going to be after them. I definitely disagree with how she went about it, with deciding for them. That she's just going to go. She'll handle it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Although she seems to be the one that's particularly targeted by all this as well. It's not the only reason that the others are being caught in the crossfire is because they were happenstantially there.
Mm-hmm.
But she is definitely the target of these abductions, and less so Luke.
Well, I was confused when she said they're also after Luke as well. Luke is a harder target to get though, but they are also after him.
Yeah.
I don't think they're after Han. Definitely not after Chewbacca.
No.
Poor Chewie.
Yeah, Chewie lost his friend to this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I was surprised Luke had nothing to say on the matter. It not only for the fact that is his sister, but he seems very insistent on the Jedi ways. We've seen him several times talk about how the Jedi do things and stuff like that. But this seems like something a Jedi would have been sent for. Peace negotiations.
True.
Diplomatic trip. Yeah.
True. That does feel like a missed opportunity to not get his reaction.
Yeah.
But I mean, what we got was funny. Him being like, "Oh, this is awkward. Bye, guys." But
yeah.
I gotta go check my X-wing.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he had almost nothing to say on the matter.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess he kind of sees it as, well, that's her problem. She's dealing with it. I'm going to trust her to do her thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Han thinks not just that it's her problem, but it's his wife's problem. So he needs to do something about it. It's a bit closer to home than than Luke's sister.
Yeah.
What do you think Luke is worried about right now? Just Drew Cyberoth? You think that's the main thing on his mind?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I imagine it's definitely a big thing, yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine that, the weight of what does it mean to be a Jedi is the thing that's running around his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple times when he's laying in bed at night, he thinks about Mara.
Luke is not the kind of person to think about the immediate crisis.
Isn't he?
Not.
He left his Jedi training to go because his friends were in immediate danger.
Well, I meant more like what's happening in front of him.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Too busy putting out fires where he isn't to try
exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Which, that feels relatable.
No, Stuart, stop it. Bad Stuart, bad habit.
Where's the sway bottle?
All right, I gotta meditate. I gotta practice my mindfulness.
There is more Chewbacca dialogue this chapter.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, is this enough Chewie for you, Tim?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It did make me laugh because there's one where the sentence is literally just Chewie growled the whole story.
Yeah.
I want a conversation between two Wookiees, and they don't talk about men at all.
Yes.
It's the Bechdel test.
Yeah. I liked seeing him more assertive though here. I think that was a really good change of pace compared to how he's been previously.
Yeah.
And,
I feel like this is very movie accurate as well, of like grunts and growls being expressed, and then the impact of that dialogue being shown through the other characters.
Yes.
I was confused. He doesn't have a life debt to Leia, right?
I don't believe so, but they did mention something like Wookiees and their life debts or something like
Yeah,
that.
he's real serious about this life debt thing, and it's
Yeah.
like, what is it? Okay.
I think because Han and Leia are married, that the life debt extends.
Oh.
It like extends to Leia by proxy or something, yeah.
They get a third whether they like it or not.
Yeah. She's just the third wheel. You know.
I also really enjoyed seeing Han reflect on his whole history with Leia when he's deciding to let her go. And I specifically like how I like the sentence, her vision extended beyond him just as it extended beyond herself to all the beings of the galaxy. And to take that away from her, whether by force or even by persuasion, would be to diminish her soul.
Yeah.
And to take away part of what he'd fallen in love with in the first place.
Yeah.
Aww.
So so sweet. Yeah.
It reminds me of the saying, or the idiom of you can cut all the flowers, but you can't keep spring.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, and in the end, if you put somebody in a box that you know, they're not the same person that you're just collecting them, and that's no better than, I don't know, slavery, or you're not allowing them to be a human or, you know, being of their own right. Only the only value is of that person is the value that you ascribe to them, and you know, relationships shouldn't be like that.
I feel like Anakin could have learned this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Anakin.
Oh, Anakin. Poster child for all the dating red flags.
Who doesn't like sand?
As a person who grew up in a very sandy place, I feel like he's got some good points on sand.
He's got that going for him at least.
Going to bed after going to the beach, or like, oh no, you don't even need to go to the beach, and there's just sand in your hair that gets in your pillow, and it's itchy and scratchy as you're
It gets
just
everywhere.
lying there. Yeah, it just gets
Dry,
everywhere.
it's coarse. It gets everywhere. Yeah.
Did you try this line on your wife too?
I don't have to answer that, right?
No, you don't. Yeah, I like where this chapter is leading. I am really curious to see what the meeting with the Noghri is like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we've been talking about that for a bit, but a few things have just gotten in the way.
Yeah. What do you think's going to come next?
I feel like we're hopping back to smugglers.
Yeah, I feel like we need some more meat from them to justify more presence in the trilogy.
Yeah, and I want to see what's happening with Mara as well.
Yeah. I imagine the next chapter is going to be a Mara one, or at least a card one.
Okay. I would like some Sabaoth, but I'm unsure that we're actually going to get anything from him until Luke's done done with the side quests, until he gets to the main quest.
Yeah, that sounds like the smart storytelling thing to do.
Yeah.
Because what else are we going to learn about Sabaoth now? I mean, maybe he'll surprise us. But I feel like that one perspective we got it felt like enough to set things up for an eventual meeting between him and Luke.
Yeah, but how eventual is it? Because like it was almost at the beginning of the last book. Well, let's say the midpoint of the last book. They're at Niklon. They're in that space battle, and he gets this message through the Force: the Jedi will rise again. And this is Luke's, as we said, he's the thing that he's most contemplative about recently. So, like, why isn't this more of a pressing issue for him to go and find this other Jedi? He's like, well, first I'm going to get the side quest on. Oh well, he was heading there, straight there to begin with.
To be fair, he was captured.
He got captured.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But now that he's free, now he's going with Han on this side quest to New Cal.
I don't know. For me, I'd wonder. While the battle is still kind of like happening between the Empire and the Republic, it's why would he still be in hiding? Because, of course, if like for Luke, I imagine he thinks if there are any Jedi out there, they'll lay no. But if this battle was over, if we have been trying to restore things, why is he still in hiding? Why am I getting weird psychological messages that are trying to lure me out places?
My guess would be that Jormark is under Imperial control, and so there's still a threat to Sabaoth, or like the cover story of Sabaoth is that he's still being threatened by the Empire, or the threat of the Empire is still there, so he's going to stay in hiding. That's the only thing that I can think keeps him out of things, because Luke is the, quixotic young adventurer that didn't really know what he was getting into, and that's the hubris of the story of the original trilogy. Is him thinking he can go out into the universe and have a bit of exploration and getting battered down by the Empire, and then thinking that he can stand up to them, and eventually he overthrows them. But no other Jedi could do that because they knew the dangers, or they were more jaded to the dangers. So that's the only thing I can think that would keep Sabaoth under. Does anybody else have any ideas?
Great chapter. Great podcast.
I agree.
Yeah, no. I don't have any other ideas on what's going on in Luke's mind with that.
Yeah.
Probably mainly that he cares about his friends more, ultimately.
Yeah.
That's the only... Yeah, I do have one idea, Stuart.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he cares about his friends more, ultimately. Yeah, I mean, that does feel consistent with Luke. I mean...
It does.
It also does feel like a regression in some ways. I do sometimes feel like we're getting more Empire Strikes Back Luke in these books.
Then Return of the Jedi?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to pull a Empire Strikes Back, and as him and Han are going to Newcorv, that just he says, all right, happy hunting, and then just splits off, like him going to get Dagobah and them going, I don't even know where they were going. Oh, they were supposed to rendezvous with the fleet.
Right, yeah. And then there was a freaking Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
And the hyperdrive wasn't working. Oh, no.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
So, like, are we going to have a moment like that where they're like, okay, well, we're here at New Corv, and Luke's like, oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not particularly interested in this quest anymore. I'm going off to Jormark.
I could see it, honestly.
Mhm.
I feel like it's just going to keep pounding at his brain until eventually it becomes the most urgent thing.
Yeah.
It absolutely has his attention, as we saw
Yeah.
in this chapter.
Which actually is a little bit unlike Luke to do a bit of research before diving into the thick of things. But maybe there's your progression. That he's consulting the archives.
Yeah,
But perhaps the archives are incomplete.
perhaps they are.
Ooh.
Are they incomplete or are they just restricted?
Are they classified or unavailable?
Right.
No, I actually just found another little interaction to say a bit more about Luke. Because Han just straight up says, I'm taking Luke with me. And then they talk a bit, and Han later asks Luke, you ready? And it says, Luke blinked, you mean right now?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So I think
okay.
Luke is more being roped into this.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
Okay.
oh man, I want the side quest. But now I'm soft locked into a main quest.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Because maybe they'll go pick up Lando and then... Because, like, what are the loose threads here? We've got Lando that's stuck on getting medical treatment. He doesn't have his ship. We have Wedge that might give him a ride somewhere, but it'd be pretty cramped for him to, I don't know, get a dink on the X-Wing. And then we also have, it's mentioned in this chapter as well, that they are supposed to get one of Card's ships out of impound from the previous book, which I remember Lobo, but I don't remember the planet name. So there's a few things up in the air that could possibly distract Han enough for Luke to go find another place.
That would be hilarious if Luke snuck off as soon as Han was distracted, though. I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and we will find out next time.
I liked the interactions, and I like where things are going.
Yeah.
This felt like a nice moving things along chapter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly from the last chapter being the frog in the boiling pot, and now
Yes.
a liminal scene before we spread out again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. All right, this has been the Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we'll be waiting for you in the next transmission. We'll be honored if you would join us.